The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A proclamation from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
At that time, Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards he was hungry. The tempter approached and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become loaves of bread." Jesus said in reply, "It is written, one does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and made him stand on the parapet of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and with their hands they will support you, lest you dash your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "Again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." Then the devil took him up to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in their magnificence. And he said to him, "All this I shall give to you, if you will prostrate yourself and worship me." At this Jesus said to him, "Get away, Satan. It is written, the Lord your God shall you worship, and Him alone shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. Brothers and sisters, the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Please be seated.
They say that lions and wild cats look so much alike. Well, of course they do, because they belong to the same, we call it feline species. However, they're also very much different. And there is an ancient theory which explains why they are different. And the theory says that the same lioness, the same mother lioness, gives birth to numerous cubs, some of which are truly lions at heart, and some of which are not. And how does the mother know which is which? Well, months after the birth of the cubs, just before they are weaned, the mother lion leaves the den, and then in an unsuspecting moment, she jumps into the den with a thundering roar to test, as if she was an enemy attacking the cubs of her children. And in that situation, some of the cubs stand up and fight back. They fight back the pursued enemy, while others run or flee the den with their tails between their legs. The cubs that hold their ground to face the danger, prove themselves to be real lions. Hindi sila natatakot. While those that run away prove to be mere wild cats. They were false lions. Now, my dear brothers and sisters, I guess this ancient story with its theory which distinguishes lions from meerkats through a form of a test is an applicable illustration also to distinguish true Christians from false Christians. Tests, Trials or temptations are actually not bad in themselves. Temptation is not bad in itself. They can be opportunities for spiritual growth, especially if we overcome temptation. Temptation can be an opportunity for, say, measuring up our strength, our being true lions, so to speak. Measuring up our true strength of commitment and faithfulness to God, as true Christians, like true lions in the story. Just as Jesus was being put to the test also, as we have heard in the Gospel today. He was put to the test by the devil, but he succeeded in all his temptations, proving his strength of character, or using the Word of God to combat the devil. Now, with the brothers and sisters, immediately before the temptations, or this temptation story of Jesus, Matthew has the Gospel. Matthew has the story of the baptism of Jesus. Prior to this story about the temptation of Jesus was the baptism of Jesus, in which we heard the heavenly voice, or we see that Gospel, the heavenly voice declared of Jesus, of Him. This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. And as Jesus leaves the baptismal water of the Jordan to embark on his public ministry, to start his public ministry as the anointed Son of God, here we see the Gospel today that we have to go through the test. In like manner, my dear brothers and sisters, in our Christian life, temptation, test, or trial is part and parcel of our life. It's part and parcel of our life's battle. In the Gospel, we see that even the Son of God, Jesus Christ himself, was subjected to temptation. However, Jesus was not overcome by the temptation. And so we should not be surprised if we encounter temptations every day in our life. For it is part and parcel of our Christian life. It is part and parcel of our being human. We go through temptations. But we have to remember that, as I've said earlier, temptation in itself is not a sin. It becomes a sin if we give into it. It can be an opportunity of grace, in fact. It can be a moment of grace, of victory, if we have overcome it through, or by the grace of God, through our adherence to His Word, the Word of God. Therefore, no child of God can go without trials, because this is the very means to distinguish between a true and a false child of God. This is a means to distinguish between a strong Christian from a weak Christian. You have to bear in mind that when we come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for testing. And that is what the book of Sirach says. Pag tayo ay sumusunod sa Panginoon, asahan natin na talagang mayroong intasyon. Mayroong battle against good and evil. But Jesus, as we have seen in the Gospel today, allowed Himself to be put to the test, allowed Himself to be tested, to show to us that we can overcome it, that it is possible to overcome it, it is possible to be victorious over temptation. No, with a disciplined heart, with a heartfelt conviction of the Word of God, and humble submission to the power of our Lord, because left to ourselves, we cannot do it. But with the grace of God, with our conviction sa power ng ating Panginoon, it is possible. We can overcome it. And Jesus showed this to us. Now in the Gospel, Jesus is given 3 tests. The first one is to turn stones into bread. Ito yung unang temptation. To turn stones into bread. Now, in the application of this to our life, biblical experts say that this temptation also implies or has something to do with how we use our God-given gifts, how we use our God-given talents, our abilities. The temptation is for us to use our gifts to make a living for ourselves, to make a living for ourselves. When through pride and selfishness we use them to glorify ourselves, we use our talents, our abilities, our God-given gifts to glorify ourselves instead of glorifying God. When we use these gifts for our own benefits, to make extraordinary profit out of these blessings that God has given us. But let us not forget what Paul tells us in his letter to the Corinthians. He said that spiritual gifts are given to the individual for the common good. Hindi mag-iswapa, hindi for selfish use, but for the common good, for the good of others. Jesus would later on in his public ministry multiply bread to feed others. He would not do it to feed himself alone. That's a good reference for this point. And so we ask ourselves, my dear brothers and sisters, do we see our talents and our abilities, our jobs, our professions as a means to serve others, or simply as means to make a living for ourselves? Siguro ito yung magandang hamon sa atin, tanungin natin yung ating sarili. Now in the second test, Jesus is tempted to prove that He is God's Son by jumping from the pinnacle of the temple and letting the angels catch Him. As was promised in the scripture, for He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone. You find that in the book of Psalms. Now through Jesus, although Jesus fully believes the Word of God, He would not put God to the test. Now the point here, my dear brothers and sisters, is how many of us have put God to the test? How many of us have put God to the test as a condition for our believing in Him, as condition for our allegiance to Him, our believing in His power, our believing in His goodness? Are there times that put God to the test? Lord, susunod lamang ako sa iyo, magbabago lamang ako, kung bibigyan mo ito, yan. Or do we find ourselves in that situation? Putting conditions on God is not a good sign of faith. Rather, believing in His providence and submitting to His will, surrendering to His will is, and that's what pleases God. Now, the third temptation, the devil promises Jesus all the kingdoms of the earth if only Jesus would worship Him. Now, let us note, my dear brothers and sisters, that Jesus was starting out His public ministry. Now, ito yung umpisa ng pagganap niya sa kanyang public ministry. And this would have been a great opportunity for Jesus to gain following. Kung gagawa siya ng spectacular, gawa siya ng milagro. Jesus wants the whole world, of course, to acknowledge Him as the Messiah. But Jesus, He will not achieve that by worshiping a false God. Now the point here, my dear brothers and sisters, that we can ask ourselves, how many of us, how many people nowadays would love to do shortcuts? Shortcuts to success, shortcuts to fame, shortcuts to earn money. Not shortcuts in the sense of working smart, but shortcuts in the sense of engaging in illegal means, in immoral means, illegal activities just to obtain what we want. That is why do many people still value principles nowadays? Do many people still value their faith in God? Or they're willing to sacrifice it for personal gain? Can we pursue our goals by any means whatsoever? Does the end justify the means? And in this particular, this third temptation, Jesus says, no. He remains steadfast and faithful to God, rejecting the shortcuts offered by the devil. And in the end, he attains an end more glorious than that offered by the devil. As what the Gospel of Matthew says, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. So many brothers and sisters, let us realize that as God's children, we too are under constant testing. May mga trials, may mga tests. Every day in our life, from the moment we wake up, may temptation kung papasok ako sa opisina o hindi. Mild temptations to serious temptations, we go through it. From mild to serious temptations. If you do not know it, then try to reflect on these questions. Will you keep believing in God, whether or not you get that one thing that you have always been praying for? This is a true test sa ating pananampalataya. Maniniwala ka pa rin ba sa Diyos kung binibigay niya sa iyo ang iyong hinihiling o hindi? Would you still believe that God loves you if you or your loved one, say, contracted a shameful disease that has no cure, and God does not give you healing in spite of all your prayers? Maniniwala ka pa rin ba sa Diyos? Susunod ka pa rin ba sa Kanya? Do you sometimes put God to the test and say, if you do this, Lord, for me, then I will serve you. But if not, I will have nothing more to do with you. These are questions that we can ask ourselves, many brothers and sisters, to test our faith. And so I pray for you. Let's pray for one another. Let us work on deepening our faith in God. Deepening our faith in God by exerting more efforts to know Him deeply, to know Him more and more every day in our life. Especially in the season of Lent, we are invited to intensify our prayer, our thanksgiving, and our fasting, our sacrifices. Let us make more effort to know, to deepen our faith in God, so that when faced with hard-hitting trials in our life, or when we are subjected into great temptations, we can also use the prayer Jesus said in the Gospel of today. Don't put God to the test. Depart away, Satan. The Lord your God shall I worship, and Him alone shall I serve.